From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, November the 9th, 2020. We open, of course, with the election news this weekend and Jewish response, including from Israel's leaders. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu opened his cabinet meeting yesterday, saying, "I would like to start with congratulations for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I have a long and warm personal connection with Joe Biden for nearly 40 years, and I know him as a great friend of the State of Israel. I am certain," Netanyahu said, "that we will continue to work with both of them in order to further strengthen the special alliance between Israel and the U.S. Netanyahu also thanked President Trump for his great friendship with Israel and all he did for the country. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin echoed the sentiment with a video message in English.
I send my blessing and the blessing of all the people in Israel to our friend Joe Biden on your election as the President of the United States of America, and also to the Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. I wish you congratulations and much successes. Mr. President-elect, I was pleased to welcome you to Jerusalem as Vice President, and I look forward to welcoming you to Jerusalem as President of the United States. As a long-standing friend of Israel, you are now going to be the leader of the free world and of Israel's closest, most important allies. Our bond is more than friendship. It is based on values, on our shared commitment to freedom and democracy. I also want to thank President Trump for 4 years of partnership, strengthening Israel's security, and to thank the American people for their support and friendship. I have no doubt that we will continue to grow and flourish in the future. God bless America. God bless all of you.
Jewish organizations congratulated Biden and Harris. The World Jewish Congress called the president-elect a longtime friend of the Jewish people. We look forward to partnering with his administration to advance peace and tolerance both in the United States and across the globe. B'nai B'rith International wrote of Biden and Harris, "We wish them well and hope both can unite Americans on many issues, including our support for Israel and our fight against anti-Semitism." The leaders of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Arthur Stark, William Daroff, and Malcolm Hoenlein wrote, "Though voters across the country may have sought different political outcomes, they share the common values that define our democracy: love of freedom, a desire for equality, and respect for the rule of law. It is time for the American people to unite." Also thanking President Trump, they wrote, for his historic efforts to strengthen the U.S.-Israel relationship, and writing, "We look forward to working with the president-elect and his administration, as well as the new Congress, to continue to deepen this unbreakable bond, counter the growing threat posed by Iran, and combat the scourge of anti-Semitism wherever it is found." CEO of the American Jewish Committee, David Harris, noted the record-high voter turnout and hard-fought campaign by both candidates and their respective parties, which he said is an inspiring testament to the strength of American democracy, stressing that reuniting the country, restoring lost faith in each other and in our common destiny must be the first order of business for President Biden and his administration. The Anti-Defamation League as well wrote that we hope that all Americans, liberals and conservatives, Republicans and Democrats, affiliated and unaffiliated, can unite after this bitter season and find common ground in working together to solve the myriad challenges that face our nation and the world. America is stronger when we unite, and now is the time to find a path forward together. In other news, the IDF tweeted of an attempted terror attack yesterday morning where they said an assailant approached and attempted to stab IDF troops operating near a refugee camp southwest of Hebron. The troops thwarted the attack, they wrote. No IDF casualties. The assailant was evacuated to a hospital for medical treatment. Well, today marks the anniversary of Kristallnacht, also called the Night of Broken Glass, a widespread pogrom that took place across Germany and Austria from the 9th through the 10th of November of 1938, marking a dramatic escalation in the Nazis' campaign against the Jews, where in just 48 hours, the Nazis burned over 1,000 synagogues, with over 7,000 Jewish businesses destroyed or damaged, 30,000 men arrested and sent to concentration camps, and nearly 100 killed. A commemoration was broadcast live today from President Rivlin's residence in Jerusalem, which included remarks from the presidents of Germany and Austria, who together sent a clear message with Rivlin on this somber anniversary.
82 years since Kristallnacht, Leil Abdullah.
And the dark shadows of the past
have not disappeared from our streets.
We will stand
against hatred.
We will stand
against anti-Semitism.
We will stand together.
In Vienna,
in Jerusalem,
in Berlin.
Never again means
never again.
And we will have special programming here on JBS in commemoration of Kristallnacht, including at 7 o'clock, a special presentation of the International March of the Living, in cooperation with the Miller Center for Community Protection and Resilience at Rutgers and the Jüdischen Gemeinde Frankfurt. At 8:30, a World War II story of Jewish triumph. And at 9, Ernie Michel, who lived through Kristallnacht in Germany and saw his own synagogue burned to the ground, recalls this pogrom and his life during the Holocaust. In other programming at 10 o'clock, Rabbi Delphine Horvelour, co-leader of the Liberal Jewish Movement of France, discusses the challenges of being a Jew in France today and suggests what Europe must do to combat nationalism and anti-Semitism. That's with Peter Rubenstein at the 92nd Street Y. And coming up next, Mark Golub speaks with conservative journalist Jonathan Tobin, who analyzes the Jewish vote for Donald Trump and the fracture of the Jewish community in this election. And we end our newscast with the loss of a profoundly impactful Jewish figure, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, who passed away Saturday morning at the age of 72 after battling cancer. Sacks served as the chief rabbi of Great Britain for 22 years. He was an advocate for religious and social tolerance and spoke of the compatibility of religion and science. His statements on how anti-Zionism was the new form of anti-Semitism was greatly impactful around the world. And he is being mourned around the world. The Prince of Wales said in a statement of Sacks, his immense learning spanned the sacred and the secular, and his prophetic voice spoke to our greatest challenges with unfailing insight and boundless compassion. His wise counsel was sought and appreciated by those of all faiths and none, and he will be missed more than words can say. Cardinal Vincent Nichols, the Catholic Archbishop of Westminster, said, "I have lost a friend, the Jewish community a great leader, humanity an eloquent spokesman." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said of Sacks, his insights about the heritage of the Jewish people and anti-Semitism will stand in our generation and for generations to come. President Rivlin said we will always remember his warning against violence in the name of God and his belief that we can heal a fractured world. The World Jewish Congress called Sacks a theologian of extraordinary intellectual depth and moral conviction. Anti-Defamation League CEO Jonathan Greenblatt said Sacks was a scholar, a statesman, and one of the great Jewish leaders of our time. B'nai B'rith International called him an enduring moral voice, an eminent intellectual, and an inspiring leader. The American Jewish Committee called Rabbi Sacks a towering figure of great intellect, principle, and moral clarity. The UJA Federation of New York said at the core of his vast contributions to public life and discourse was his remarkable ability to create and communicate a compelling narrative rooted in Torah and Jewish law of tolerance, compassion, and understanding. And JBS President Rabbi Mark S. Golub issued this statement upon hearing of Rabbi Sacks' passing. I am deeply saddened by the passing of Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks. He was an intellectual and spiritual giant of contemporary Jewish life, whose prolific writings and many, many addresses always conveyed the best of the Jewish tradition and inspired Jews to become more engaged in Jewish life. I will always feel privileged and honored to have had him as a guest on L'chaim and to feature him in so many JBS programs. He taught me and he inspired me, and I will miss him very much. JBS will continue to keep his memory alive by continuing to air his many appearances on JBS. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. Jonathan Sacks' memory will forever be a blessing.